Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I am Surbi Sardana and I am taking this daily answer writing initiative from Monday to Friday at 9 pm. From today onwards, there is a change in Seize the Mains initiative. As you know that whatever answers you write for a particular question, you can send them to us for the evaluation by our experts. From today onwards, we'll give the question one day in advance. So today at 9 pm, we'll be sharing the question that will be discussed tomorrow, and you will have 24 hours or more to share your answers for that particular question. So let's begin with day 17 of our discussion, and the topic for today is, it's from GS paper 1, Salient Features of World's Physical Geography. Before moving further, let me share the question for tomorrow, the discussion that will be held tomorrow. The question for tomorrow is, despite of surplus food production, millions of Indian citizens die due to hunger. Comment, answer in 150 words for 10 marks, and you can send your answers by 12 pm of 4th March. So you have more than 24 hours to share this answer, because this is the first change we are making to our initiative. So you have ample amount of time to frame your own answer, and you can share your answers even after the discussion is held tomorrow at 9 pm. So you will have enough time, either write your own answer or wait for the discussion and check whatever the answer you've written is good or not, and then share your answers. So for today's discussion, whatever the answers you write will be taken till 12 pm tomorrow, and this question's answer will be taken till 12 pm of 4th March. And you can send your answers at this email ID, it's also there in the description. So let's see what is the question for today, which is from geography part of your syllabus. Before moving further, make sure that you have a pen and a paper handy with you, and you note down the points that come to your mind, or if you want to make some notes, you don't have to make full notes for this presentation because the PDF will be available. The link is there in the description. So, but if there are some points that you want to note down as we discuss, so you can note down them on those. So the question for the day is, bring out the causes for more frequent landslides in the Himalayas than in Western Ghats. Answer in 150 words for 10 marks. So landslides are a major geophysical phenomena which are most of the unwanted occurrences in hilly areas in India. They cause a lot of destruction whenever they happen, and there are seasons in which landslides take place. This question has been asked by UPSC in a previous year as a previous year question. So questions around these, like what are landslides, or what are the reasons for landslides in Himalayas, or separate reasons for Western Ghats, or a comparison of both, has been asked from time to time. So this is a very important question from examination point of view. Let's start by introducing the answer. The geography answers and history answers are very easy to introduce because you just have to talk about what's written in the question. So here the keyword is landslides. So in our introduction, we'll talk about landslides and then directly move on to the body paragraphs, keeping the word limit in mind. So let's see what is the definition of landslides here. Landslides are physical mass movement of soil, rocks or debris down the mountain slope because of heavy rainfall, earthquake, gravity, etc. See, the reason of landslides has to be given here. You can separate it by commas just like it's here. It can be due to rainfall, snowfall, earthquake, or any sudden movement, and gravity is always the cause. The gravity is pulling the soil or rock debris towards the lower portion of the earth. So that is always the cause of landslide. So make sure that you remember this definition, or whatever definition you write from your side, you incorporate these points in that. Moving on to the linkage point. The linkage point introduces the body paragraph of your answer. So the linkage point will be very simple here, that the causes of landslides in the Himalayan region and Western Ghats can be discussed as follows. The main part here is building the body paragraph. So there are many ways to address this question. Either you can draw a table, draw a line in between. On the left side, write about Himalayas, reasons for more landslides in Himalayas. And on the right side, write reasons for lesser landslides in Western Ghats. So either this is one approach, follow like 1 to 10 points, whatever you have. The second idea is that you write separate paragraphs for both, or separate pointer paragraphs. First of all, you discuss the pointers for Himalayas, and then you go on to discuss about the pointers for Western Ghats. So this is the second approach. The third approach is that you write your answer entirely in one single paragraph or multiple paragraphs. The best approach to this answer is the first one, because the word limit is just 150. So you can use just keywords here when you're using this first approach. But to discuss this answer, to explain you in detail, we are taking the second approach for discussion. Make sure you use the approach which suits best for you. Moving on to the next part, there is a diagram. Your geography answers should be filled with as many diagrams as you can, because that's what geography is about. So this is a very basic diagram of a landslide. It has been taken from Google Images. You can go back to your NCERTs to find more similar diagrams or diagrams related to the factors responsible for landslides. For example, plate tectonics. You can have representations like those also, but this is a very basic diagram. It represents how a landslide takes place. Here is the grown cracks. On this part, there is the scarp from where things start falling. This is the sliding surface. It's taking trees and a car along. And this is the depositional area where the debris stops after the landslide. So this is a very simple diagram. You can draw it with a pen or a pencil, whatever feels good to you, and it will get you more marks, because in 150 words question, one diagram, one good diagram is more than enough. So moving on to a body paragraph, let's see what are the factors responsible for landslides in Himalayan regions, or let's say, or in a better way to say that, what are the factors responsible for more landslides in Himalayan region as compared to Western Ghats. As we know that Himalayas are young mountains, they are formed of sedimentary rocks, and sedimentary rocks are prone to erosion. So this is the first reason of cause of landslides in Himalayan regions. The other reason is diurnal changes, the changes between temperature between day and night, followed by the steep slope and the great height of Himalayas. So all these reasons club to form a situation where Himalayas are more prone to landslides. Plus there are many young rivers and very heavy rivers flowing through the Himalayas, so they take a lot of deposits with them, a lot of debris with them, along with them. So the soil becomes very weak, it becomes very much prone to landslides. So this is the second reason. The third reason is the northward drift of the Indian plate. It's not stationary, it's moving by 5 to 10 centimeters every year. So the height of Himalayas is rising, and this northward drift, it causes earthquakes because there is no stability there, so it causes earthquakes, and the Himalayan region is very unstable. Due to that instability, due to those earthquakes, the the mountains get shaken up, and since the rocks are very soft, there are more landslides happening every now and then. So let's read out very quickly these first 3 points. Himalayas are young tertiary mountains formed of sedimentary rocks and hence are prone to erosion. Diurnal changes of temperature are much more in northern India than south of Vindhyas. This weakens the rocks and aids mass wasting. The Himalayas have great height and steep slopes. The numerous streams and rivers like the Ganges, the Indus, the Brahmaputra, etc. aid the occurrence of frequent landslides. The running water causes a large-scale erosion of mountainous region. This much is clear. Northward drift of the Indian plate causes frequent earthquakes and resultant instability in the region, hence causing more landslides. Moving on to the next slide, let's see what are the more points causing more landslides in Himalayas. So heavy snowfall occurs in winters, which further melts in summers, hence causing large flow of debris and landslides. When heavy snowfall occurs and the snow melts during summers or in like the following seasons, there are many small streams also formed. Small streams of water are formed, and they take a lot of debris along with them. They weaken the soil of those Himalayan mountain systems. So that is the reason, while there is no snowfall seen in the case of Western Ghats. So lastly, there are many man-made activities. There are dams happening. There is the timber industry which is developed in Himalayas. A lot of deforestation takes place due to both of these. Shifting cultivation is a feature of Himalayas. Grazing, overgrazing is a feature of Himalayas. So when all these factors contribute to the loosening of soil or rock system, and hence the force of gravity can act more strongly, the soil gets loosened and everything falls goes towards the downward slope. So reading this out, heavy snowfall occurs in winters which further melts in summers, hence causing large flow of debris and landslides. Man-made activities like deforestation for timber industry, grazing, shifting cultivation and development of dams increase the chances of landslides. Unplanned growth of houses in the hill areas, example heavy load of residential and hotel structures in Nainital, Uttarakhand, are a leading cause. So the cloudbursts that were seen few years back in Uttarakhand region and from time to time are happening because of these reasons only, because the urbanization is not planned. There are houses, hotels and other commercial structures being developed everywhere, especially near the rivers. So this not only causes landslides but also many other climatic factors, destructive climatic factors like cloudburst and all. So moving on to our next part, which is what are the reasons for low landslides, lesser landslides in Western Ghats. The first reason we'll talk about the geomorphology. What is the kind of soil or what are the kind of rocks that are there in Western Ghats? They are stronger. They're not prone to erosion. So let's read the first point. Western Ghats are older block mountains. Their major part is composed of basalt rocks, which shows great resistance to erosion and denudation. So basalt rocks is the keyword here. Make sure that you underline it because that retards the erosion and denudation. The second part is that Western Ghats are so old, they are very old, so they are already eroded and denuded. So these mountains are very stable in their forms as of now. Steep slope is there on the western side, but and rainfall is also high on the western side, but on the eastern side, the climatic conditions on the eastern side, which is not very high in slope, balances all of this. On the eastern side of Western Ghats, the slope is also not that steep and rainfall is also very less. So Western Ghats are eroded and denuded already. While steep slope on western side with high rainfall creates ideal conditions for landslides, but the gentle eastern slopes with low rainfall and rivers in mature stage counters this condition. This is another point, that the rivers cannot carry a lot of sediment with them when it comes to Western Ghats, because they are very old rivers. They contain a lot of silt, a lot of sediment already. They are in their mature stage. While in the Himalayan region we have perennial river systems. Rivers flow throughout the year and the rivers are very young and they have a very high flow as compared to the rivers in Western Ghats. So Western Ghats have small and swift flowing streams. On the eastern side there are big rivers like Godavari, Kaveri and Krishna, but since they are already in mature stage, they cannot carry large amount of debris. So this is the third reason. Moving on to the next part of this answer, next part of the reasons for Western Ghats. They are located on stable part of the Indian plate. They are located on the Deccan Plateau, which is very much stable as compared to where the location of Himalayas is currently. Himalayas are on the on the boundary of the Indian plate. So they are the condition for Himalayas is very unstable as compared to the condition for Western Ghats. So there are lesser earthquakes in Western Ghats and there is less movement. There is less shaking of the ground and in unstable factors are lesser as compared to they are in the Himalayan region. And also Western Ghats have got this environmental protection from a very old age. So there is very less human interference in Western Ghats as compared to the Himalayas. You'll find Himalayas flooded with homes at all kinds of houses and commercial buildings at all kinds of slope and heights, but Western Ghats this is not the case. Nature has been very much preserved as compared to the Himalayas. So reading these 2 points, Western Ghats are located on stable part of Indian plate, Deccan Plateau, hence moving of Indian plate does not affect Western Ghats and there are lesser earthquakes. last point for Western Ghats is the human interference is lesser in Western Ghats as compared to the Himalayas. So there is less deforestation, less environmental degradation as compared to the Himalayas. So this soil is very much binded and there are lesser landslides. So this was the answer for our day. Make sure that you use that diagram that we talked about. Moving on to the conclusion, since it is a 150 words answer, in geography you cannot have very good conclusions. There has to be only like technical part, factual part. So either you can have a conclusion or you can entirely skip it, especially if you're using the tabular format of the answer, because the body paragraph entirely gives whatever the information was needed for this answer. So however, you can conclude by giving a way forward for like how to tackle landslides, or by about mentioning what schemes of the government are there for the protection of biodiversity hotspots. Both of these are biodiversity hotspots, the Himalayas and Western Ghats. So for example, this one of the missions under NAPCC is National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. So you can write similar schemes or similar missions of government which are aimed at restoring these Himalayan ecosystems or Western Ghats per se. Or you can talk about our international commitments of saving terrestrial ecosystems or mountains. You can talk about Sustainable Development Goal 6.6 and Sustainable Development Goal 15.1. Both of these targets, they relate to saving the terrestrial ecosystems in one way or the other. So you can use them in your conclusions or introductions or any like parts in the body paragraph. So otherwise, if you cannot find a conclusion, just write 1 to 2 lines about the importance of both of these ecosystems, the Himalayan ecosystems and the Western Ghats. So that would be enough. This was your 150 words answer. Make sure that you write your own answers, you add your own points or some examples or schemes that are being carried out by your own state, or anything that you know from your environment part of the syllabus. Make sure that you include them in your introduction, conclusion, or you come up with good diagrams of your own. You can send your answers to us by 12 PM tomorrow. Again, I'm repeating, from today we have changed the pattern of this initiative. We have already given whatever was the question for that will be discussed tomorrow at 9 PM in the first slide. So make sure that you write answers for that also, and you try to send answers before the discussion that happens at 9 PM tomorrow. So that will help you assess your own answers apart from our feedback. And the answers for this question will be received till 12 PM tomorrow, that is of March 3. And we'll come up with the discussion of the question that we gave you today, which was from GS paper 2, issues relating to poverty and hunger. You can download the PDF of this presentation from the description below, from the link there. And you can download the schedule till March 17. We will be extending our schedule. It is at least a 90-day initiative. We'll be moving on beyond that also. But till the schedule till March 17 is available in the description and on our Telegram channel. So make sure that you keep writing answers. Stay motivated to work harder. Prelims is approaching and you also need to be prepared for your mains, whether it's UPSC or State Civil Services. All the best to all of you, and stay tuned.